So here's a look at a 1954 Wolseley 444. That means 4 cylinders and 44 horsepower. It's a great little car. I've done a fair bit of work to it. I've had all the suspension, rubber parts replaced, engine mounts, gearbox mounts, everything like that. The carburettor was totally just worn out when I bought the car, so that was completely restored by SU Midel. And I fitted the correct engine bay mounted fuel pump, because the previous owner had put a tiny little fuel pump in the boot. And it would have cost more money to have put the fuel pump in the boot and to wire it up and to run hoses than it would be to replace it with the correct pump. Anyway, that pump that he installed was running far too much pressure for the carburettor, so I fixed that and put the correct pump back in where it should be. It's got a good generator which charges fine, and I also put a new distributor in it because the old one was quite worn, and it's got a new coil as well. Fairly new battery. This great big thing on the top is the air filter, and it's an oil bath air filter. It's fantastic. There's a mesh element which you never replace, not like a modern one that has to be changed. You just replace the oil in there, and it's a great little car. Wolseley badge on the front. So I just thought, in addition to photographs, I'd show what it looks like. I consider it to be in very presentable condition. And here we have the boot, 44. I have another one of these that goes with this chrome part here, because that one's a bit pitted. So I have a good one that comes with the car, but I've never actually gotten around to fitting it. So that will come with the car. All the hubcaps are there. Shut the driver's door. So that's what it looks like. So we've seen inside the engine bay. Why don't we fire it up? The seats are quite good. There was a tear on the driver's seat, so I made this little cover to cover it because there was some spare fabric when they had the seats re-trimmed. Spare vinyl, I suppose. So, driving this car and turning it on its breeze. Oh, I had all these knobs made by a guy in the Wolseley club, because when I bought it, I've had this car for about 5 or 6 years, I think. When I bought it, these were all mismatched and some were broken and they looked terrible. So I had the guy make them up to exactly what they would have looked like originally. And also the gear lever. There was some great big bulbous thing on there, which was actually easier to change gears, but this is the correct one. And when I bought the car, it had the wrong steering wheel and it had an Austin thing in the middle, so we had to get rid of that and get the proper steering wheel. And the horn, for some reason, has been wired up down there. I don't know why. There's a modern temperature gauge there, and it usually runs at about 1/4. And that's actually quite handy, having that modern gauge, because the original temperature gauge only measured the temperature of the water in the header tank after it had left the block. So this one actually measures the actual temperature of the water in the engine. Blinkers have been fitted. And these lovely lights, everything works. Very Art Deco. The only thing I don't like, the previous owner had done the headlining in some sort of material that isn't quite original to the car, but look, it presents well, and I've never bothered changing it. It's had all new carpets all the way through. I put some protective rugs. It's got its original heater. Anyway, let's start it up. It's very simple, and away it goes. Good oil pressure. The clock doesn't work. I've never bothered to get it fixed. It's probably the only thing in the car that doesn't work. We turn on the lights. Because if you don't know about Wolseley's, there's one feature that I think is the cutest feature of all time, and that is when you turn on the lights, the grill lights up. Now there's a bit of red, probably wax missing. You can always fill that in. I didn't do it. So as you can see, the lights work, and the blinkers operate on those, what I assume were originally parking lights, but and then they've had extra lenses put on the back. So all in all, I think it's a very nice little car. And I'm only getting rid of it because I have another much larger car coming into my collection, and I've only got a 3-car garage, so that means I can only keep 3 cars. Getting the car into reverse is easy. It's just straight down like that, and there we are in reverse. I had a new bushing put into this mechanism, and it can be a little tight to get it into first gear, so we bring it right back and then straight up. Nope, I've got into third. Bring it right back and then straight up, and there it is in first. It's got smooth gear changes. As you can see, good oil pressure, fuel gauge works, odometer works, speedometer works, and the modern temperature gauge that's reading the temperature from the block is all good. Notice if you can see them, tiny little pedals. It's the smallest accelerator pedal I've ever seen in my life.